Let's get into session number 2. On day 2, platform basics, workspace management. On the beginner side, we are going to cover some advanced level stuff as well. And don't forget our syllabus. So if you have not printed out a syllabus to know what we're looking at, make sure you do that. This is on the left-hand side of Discord at the top left in the start section, right under getting started. Get the syllabus printed out. We're going to be covering these beginning sections up here. And then don't forget, towards the end, we're going to be putting it all together. If you get a question in lesson 1, I'll answer it in session 2. In session 2 today, you'll probably answer it in session 3. Now I want to talk about layouts. Everybody's got a different computer layout and hardware. Let's assume for a moment that you have gotten in and you have purchased. Once you have purchased, you are now going to get access to the premium members only section on the left hand side down here that right now you may not have access to. But once you have purchased, on the left hand side you will see the premium members only area, and you see this section right here that says lesson library. This is where you're going to go here and you'll see an entire lesson library from the top to bottom and all the deep dive stuff. That's the standard 40-day process if you want to deep dive into things or if you want to look for specific lessons. At the same time, that's kind of supplemented now by our documentation. We actually just updated some of the stuff that we had questions on yesterday for the fiddle zone filter area. Let's go into the workspaces section inside of our documentation, docs.algoboxpro.com. Coming back, we talked about the workspaces. So remember this from yesterday, things to set up. If you don't know, hit this video right here. Now let's go into the chart layouts themselves, depending on what type of layout that you might have. We touched on this yesterday. Remember, we are reading from left to right, and this is our main filter here before we execute on a big or a small on our ATMs on the right. If we got a play that comes in on this chart, I might have a larger target. Comes in on this one, I might be looking for a smaller T1, T2 scenario. Remember that? Let's talk about laying your screens out. I want to take some time here on this one. Okay, so I'm going to slow it down a little bit. My recommended layout, you don't have to. So remember, these are recommendations for me. If I was going to do this, this is how I would do it. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit farther. These days, the 43-inch 4K monitors are very inexpensive. The ideal is to have a 43. Now, at some point, if you watch my old videos, I was talking about a 55. I did work on a 55 for a very long time, like in the same workspace right here where I was at, and I just found myself craning my neck just a little bit too much, kind of looking up, and things were kind of out of my eyesight. Like as I'm looking right here, I found myself having to look up a lot, up and to the right to see things. And I was like, you know, if I just brought that in just a little bit. So if you're watching the old video on the 55, if you've heard, well, Vinny suggests the 55, okay, let's bring on our cool big red X's here today. Not a 55 anymore. Okay, I recommend a 43-inch. Now, if you have something else and you're working out and starting out, again, not necessary, but we're talking about ideal here, right? That's my job as a mentor to go, what would I suggest to myself, having spent a lot of time in our systems. Your center, that's there. And now you want to flank it with some additional monitors because we need some more information, right? We are all about information. That's our entire job as traders, is to take in the information and make wise decisions. A 2-screen flank is really nice. Now, I've kind of found I kind of like putting them on the same side. Like I think from a balance perspective and visibility, I like having them left and right. Okay, even in my current configuration, I like, I have them left to right, but I do find myself wishing I kind of just want to look to the left. Like I don't really necessarily want to look to the left and the right for various things, but wherever you put these, I do recommend that you have some extra pixel space to put some additional items. Like for instance, Discord. Now, if you zoom in on this on the right, you'll notice we've got 2 Discords laying over here on the right. Now, I can't tell from the screenshot if they're set to premium or not, but I do recommend that you have 2 of these set to, for sure, you want our public chat. And the other one I would probably put on the news feed. In the news, that is on the left-hand side of Discord, if you click under news. So open another window there. Now, let's back up one more step talking about Discord. I've got a whole video around the Discord layouts. It's like video number 4 in the premium member section on Discord layouts. And I go into specific details on, I don't recommend installing the Discord app, even though you might think, oh, the app's got to be better. Unfortunately, I wish it was better, but it's not. The browser is actually better because you can't duplicate the Discord. It's like it's one frame, you get one screen, and that's it. And so I would recommend you do a browser base so that you can do multiple tabs. So have multiple tabs of Discord open in the browser, use the browser edition, and don't use the main one. Other problems are copy paste. You can't copy paste images as easily out of the Discord app for whatever reason, at least currently. Maybe they change that in the future, but as of right now, it's kind of difficult to right click. I just want to be able to copy an image and paste and send it to someone if I need to. for screenshotting capabilities, etc. You're just going to have more versatility using the browser edition. So with that being said, you want to split out and get yourself 2 Discords for the top, and this one you might want to have for the public chat, and this one for the news, or vice versa, whichever you feel comfortable with. But once you lay it out that way, I recommend you keep it that way. Get your layout the way that you want it. Spend a lot of time up front getting it just right, just the way you want it, and kind of play with it a little bit at first and just feel it out. But then once it's there, this is my key, I would say, then leave it there. Don't change it, okay? Stick with it. Now, over here on the left, you'll see another Discord window that you may or may not recognize from our live streams. This is the MACV Ultimate running top to bottom over here. Now, I don't necessarily think you need to use an entire screen for this. You could put some other information over here, maybe the financial juice room, the Trump tweets section that I talked about before. You may want to have that on the screen as well, but give yourself that additional real estate to give you the flexibility of the other third-party apps that I've talked about, like Snagit we talked about yesterday. Make sure you've got those Trump tweets somewhere nearby on Truth Social on your screen layouts. Now, in this center screen, this is, remember I talked yesterday about I was concerned about overwhelming people with the layout that I would personally like. I like with what's called the 20 chart layout. Okay, that 20 charts is going to be 5 charts per instrument times 4 instruments. So in this quadrant here, I always put NASDAQ in the bottom left, so that the buttons that I'm executing on land right here, almost in the center of the screen. This is kind of where the center action occurs in the middle of your screen. Your eyeballs are kind of right here-ish, and right here where those buttons are, I want the fastest instrument right there, where if I'm going to react to something, it's going to be right there. Now, on the live streams, I am generally doing YM, so instead of NQ, I might have the YM here for my main in the bottom left, so that it puts my execution buttons right there, kind of center, and just a little bit down for my eyes. NQ, and then I might want to go from here, and then I want my next fastest probably right up above it. And I like to put the YM up above because I think about shaking my head, yes. Okay, it starts with a Y, YM, yes. I look up and down, yes. So YM, I put it up there, and I literally never move it. Like if I'm gonna do a configuration, I always know where it is. I'm like, if I'm looking for the dial, I don't wanna be moving these things around. Once I set it there, that's its location kind of for life, okay? And then I got RTY over here on the right, and that, I like the logic of that. I like to do things when I get to choose something and I'm trying to choose the best way to do something. I think R to the right, so I've got RTY on the right. There's my R. ES is the slowest of all of them, so if I need to hit a button on it, I gotta reach way up there to the corner to hit something. You know, my 2 slow guys, ES and RTY over there on the right, kind of sitting there together. That's kind of my general layout for the 20 chart layout. Now, you do not have to have the 20 chart layout. Remember, you can actually reduce that and do the 3 chart layout. I'm going to show you that here on my own live screen here in just a moment. You can do what we call the flag, so that instead of all 5 of those, we've got this layout. Someone asked earlier about OLED. Absolutely not. Do not waste your money on OLED. Oh my goodness. Folks, there are times when the market gets a little bit stale and slow, or you're in the middle of a trade and your hands and your palms are sweaty and you're sitting there and you got your finger over the button, all right, and you're ready to press this thing and you're just hovering over it and the market's going real slow and you're like, I'm about to mash this thing, and your hands just trying to be real steady, and then all of a sudden your monitor starts to dim. Okay, it gets dimmer and dimmer and dimmer and dimmer till you're literally like, will you please wake up? And you can't shake your mouse around to wake it up or anything. You have to like click on something. You have to like maximize some other window. And if you move your mouse, you know how it is. You got your hand over the buy or sell button. Next thing you know, you got to go over and maximize a window real quick just to get the OLED because it's like, oh, we don't want to burn out. We don't want to burn in your screen. So we've got this little buffer thing where we basically dim your monitor for you so you don't have burn in. And you're sitting there wanting to scream at the monitor. I did this for a while. I did it for like 3-4 months, and I literally chucked that thing. I was like, get this out of here. I will never use an OLED for trading. Now, if you want to use it for gaming, do your thing, okay? If you have a choice, you are wasting your money. In fact, you'll pay up for it. You're like, well, it says right here, it's better. Trust me. That's what a mentor is for. When somebody else is selling you on a dream, you're like, oh, get the OLED. Don't fall into this trap. If you go look up OLED dimming, trust me, you will hate it. And you're like, oh, well, I got this thing where I can override it. Well, yeah, then you actually get the burn in. You force yourself to burn in. You're either dealing with burn in or you're dealing with dimming. Either one, it's terrible. Don't do OLED. IPS is amazing. IPS gives you nice, vivid, beautiful colors. IPS monitors. Okay, look, if you look up what I'm talking about, if you're going to buy something, Okay, just get yourself, if it says IPS, okay, we're good. Got it? IPS. Boom. That's my suggestion. I don't believe QLED has that same problem. Don't quote me on that. I don't know about QLED, actually. I have not done the QLEDs, but if it has a auto dimming feature, auto dimming for you, don't. Yeah, just don't. In the middle of trading, and you're gonna get super frustrated when you're gonna sit there and you're gonna have to go, oh, let me maximize my screen real quick and then minimize it back. And you take your hand off, and you know how it goes. You're in the middle of a hot trade, or you're like trying to concentrate, and you know you got to go up there and do that to just shake the screen to get the dimming to turn back off again. You do not want to do that. Okay, so zooming in to the chart layouts on laying out 3 at a time. So we talked about going to the 12s. And what do I mean by 12? Well, that is in a scenario where you're doing a flag layout. And let's do this. Quadrants going again. And we talked about this yesterday. So if you're lost on it, roll back the tape. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but I do want to draw out what this would look like in a 12 layout instead of the 20. Okay, so you're going to have 3 per instrument, and it will look something like this, but without this. Oh, I messed it up. This is supposed to be that's all 1, and this is all 1. It's supposed to look like these over here. Okay, my terrible drawings. So the flag layout, and I'm going to show you an example of that here in a minute, just so you don't get confused. In this layout, you can clearly see there are 5 charts each. There is 1, 2, main, filter, 3, 4, and 5 right there on each one. And that is duplicated on each of the quadrants in this section. And that is the standard 5. That's the 20. And then you go to the 12. Okay, I beat that dead horse. Great. Now, you don't have to do that. Again, if you are following along in my live streams, again, I have other monitor over here on the left. So I've got additional space, and I've got my monitor over here on the right. So I can spread things out a little more. You know, more is more and more is better. If you have the extra space, do it. But if you're on a laptop or standard layout where you can't have all the multi-monitor set up, that's okay. We talk about it where you can actually open up on your phone the MACV Ultimate. I saw somebody ask earlier, what was you called it the heat map. This is called the MACV Ultimate on the left, and we go over that a lot in the live streams. And that is going to be, remember, that is the nerd buffer, or the nerd directional filter that will tell you the direction of all 4 of the correlated instruments. It's a very handy tool. One of the layouts, if you want a more reduced workspace, because that's what we're going to talk about now, is you might want to put the MACV Ultimate on like this, like on your phone. Have your phone, or you got an old phone, and connect it to the Discord room. This is just a Discord area on the left hand side. Go into the left hand side of Discord, open up the MACV Ultimate, and then put it in full screen on your device. You put it on your phone, put it on a tablet next to you. You can put it off in the image above where we had it off on a left-hand screen. Again, in the live streams, I kind of have mine up in the top left, as you'll notice in the live stream layouts that I have on, we just did, Monday and Tuesday here this week. So that is there. That is a primary filter for us. And that is what that MACV Ultimate is. And you can put that on a separate device. Let's say that you only have just the center screen in a scenario like, say, on a laptop. In a laptop scenario, if you didn't have a left monitor and you didn't have a right monitor and you only have one, well, then I might want to divvy up my space where I definitely want that MACV Ultimate. I would probably put it on another device over here, kind of right here. So I've got all of the details of information, and let's put some little green dot things on here, and we got some reds. Okay, so you've got your MACV Ultimate over here on your other device, but you might say, well, what if I'm just on one? Okay, no problem. We can do it like I have it in my live streams. I actually take a sliver of my monitor over here on the left for my MACV Ultimate, and then I just use the rest of the space for my other windows, primarily in my case on the YM. I want to have my main screen, my main entry buttons scenarios right here, as close to me as I can get. So I'll have my buttons, got my little sell buttons here on my ATMs, and then my chart is going along here with all of the goodies right there. But make sure you got that filter on the left. Now, you might be asking, well, what about the left to right reading? Now, I do recommend you just stay with my current layouts. The way that I have them for you is you are going through training, just reading left to right. I think it's very valuable for you. If you have any issues with anything, just use my standard layouts. But if you want to know the way that I've got it in my live streams right now, where I'm in a limited workspace where I am showing, because of me wanting to show you guys, a limited set of data so that you're not overwhelmed when you're on a live stream. It doesn't seem overly complicated. I'm just sitting there focused in on one instrument. I've got my buttons right in the center. And then on my right over here, I've got my larger time frame charts. So here I have my filter chart, what I call the MACV local. And then I have my wave chart over here. And then top right up here, I've got my 89s. And right now I'm running quite a few. You'll notice on my live streams, I'm running my full auto system with quite a few charts up here up top. But generally, if I don't have that and I've got that on another screen and not trying to showcase that, then up here, I've got my other, the big ripple entry chart up here. And this is my small. So a little bit of a different configuration with my tide here, my wave here, my MACV filter here. And this is that really important one. Remember on my two-step entry, if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry. We're going to go over this a little bit more in detail. Or if you're in a live streams and you see it, this is where we're looking for the arrow off of this chart. So I'm looking for, do I have a green arrow right now, or do I have a red arrow? And I want that to be congruent with my nerd to match up. So if I've got red over here, I want red right here. That's my step 1. That's my step 2. And then I'm literally, if those are both red, then I am hovering my mouse here over the red side. Or if they're green, obviously hovering it over the green. And then I'm looking for one of my entries. I'm going to refer to the cheat sheets again. Here's the cheat sheets. These are the entry strategies for us, which are going to always combine our 2 pillars. 2 pillars are what? Remember, what are the 2 pillars? Pop quiz from yesterday. You took notes. Your 2 pillars are structure and RTOFA. I want a structure and an RTOFA event for an entry. Then along with my filter buffer, and I simplify it in 2 steps. Easy peasy. Right. Now you're going to learn the full details of order of operations if you're going through our full training series and you're getting into that. But I'm here to simplify this during our boot camp. So you want to go into all the nitty gritty details, get into those in the deep dive stuff and take a little bit more time. Take your time going through those, but I'm here to just get you up to speed as quickly as possible here during our boot camp. Excellent. Great reviews on it as well. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I might pick one of those up myself. I still want a 40 inch. If somebody could find me a good 40 inch, I know the 43s, they cookie cutter them, right? These companies they make them 43. I'm sure they have a reason for it, but a 40 at the desktop space where you're sitting right in front of it, 40 is the absolute ideal. 32 still feels a little cramped when you go to 4K. Regarding the nerd, isn't it just the last row that we are looking at? If so, why the whole history taking up the screen? All right, so there is definitely a reason for that. So are you familiar with the red rover or the green rover? Are you familiar with that? So that's 2 reasons. Red rover, green rover. You wouldn't know if a red rover or a green rover just occurred if you're not looking up what I kind of call looking up the snake. Let me go to an example of that real quick. So let's go to MACV Ultimate here. So easy to search inside of our documentation here. And I'm going to zoom out 1 level here. So what I like to do is picture yourself kind of drawing a line through these. And I'm going to make this a little bit narrow here as I go through this. So right here, we start at this neutral up top. And again, I like to make mine even longer than this because I do want to see where we have been. Sometimes it is helpful to find out, have we just been slammed up over here on red all morning? Can tell you, like, are we in a trend day? We can get information from that. Yes, currently all I care about is this. 100%. Totally agree with you that yes, why not just have this? I think you're limiting your capacity for larger trades and getting if you need in your mind to develop a narrative of what's going on that day. I think it's helpful to see more. Let's walk through this one right here. So currently on this date, let's see, does it have a date on these? No date, but 10 a.m. on whatever day this is, we took the screenshot. We went neutral to sell side. What I noticed is we went back to neutral and then we went back to sell side, but we never touched. Look at this. All these in this entire window of time, we never hit all 4 instruments simultaneously, we never went strong sell. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry. We're going to go in big details on the MACV Ultimate. But again, our whole point here in our boot camps, I said is going to make it interactive. Any question that comes up, we're going to get it answered as we go along. So feel free to ask your questions, and we'll bring them up, and then we'll hit it again later. I think you're going to need things to be repeated. I think it's helpful in training and stuff like that. So you notice this is blank. So to me, I'm already considering the fact that as I'm over here on the neutral where we currently are, that if I had to give myself a bias on which one when it's neutral, if I have seen that we hit strong buy right now, I still have a buy side bias because I've looked recently, right, to see, well, where have we been? We haven't touched red full strong sell that entire time. We went from here to here to here, here, all the way up to green, all the way to strong buy, and then to neutral. So if I'm following what I kind of call following the path, I like to call it following the snake. Like, what does the snake look like? And I kind of picture a little slithering, like a little smooth action there. So following the snake here, here's his current head. Where has he been? Has he been more on green side this morning? And again, depending, again, whole thing, why I like to see the whole thing, because some days you'll see. I'll give an example from today. Today, all morning was literally just this thing jammed up over on the side, green, right? It came back like one. It was almost like every time you tapped a moderate buy, it was like, okay, time to buy, find a buy, and then bing, we go back to strong buy, go back to buy, and then bing, strong buy, neutral, bing, strong buy. Did that answer your question? Why I might be interested in the whole thing? Context. Makes sense now? Cool. But yes, the most important information, this comes back to another one of our principles. Let's go ahead and write this one down in your notes. Great time to go ahead and talk about it. If you followed along with me for any period of time, you know this one, right? How many of you guys have heard this one before? I say recency is key, right? What does that mean? When picking between multiple things, the most recent is absolutely key. If I get some scenario where oftentimes you'll see on a chart, you're like, oh no, you got a green dot, and then almost immediately right after it went up a little bit and it went red dot. So should I just stick with my green or should I go red? Which one came last? In the scenario I'm looking at, I want to prioritize the current information, most recent. Okay, recency is key. Just keep that in mind on all things. Just apply that to all things. So in that case of a MACV Ultimate, it's the most recent one is key, but I might want to know where we've gone contextually to help me develop my narrative and when I'm planning. Where I'm thinking, I'm kind of playing chess moves where I'm thinking multiple moves ahead. Great, huge example today. If you guys want to watch a good day of trading and even being patient all the way through a trend day into the lunchtime pivot, today would be a good day to go learn how patience pays and watch how I play that. It was some interesting stats today. I noticed in a day where the market moved continuously up, I noticed myself, I have a short side bias, and I think it's because short side moves faster. I'm going to actually give you guys another key right now while we're here. If it's on my mind, I'm going to talk it to you. Here it is. Slow favors the bulls. Just write it down for now. Put it in your notes for later. You'll know what I mean. Fast favors the bears. These are two little things that you'll hear me say on the regular. So the market is grinding. It's kind of slow. It is just the nature of buyers to go. It's like they're carefully thinking about their buy position. I would like to buy into this. Oh, dude, when they're selling, they're like, I'm out. Get me out right now. Sell button. Sell now. Sell immediately. I want out. And there's bigger emotion to the bear side. So in general, the bear side, you got bull side, slow for the bulls, fast for the bears. Everybody got it? Coming back to our workspaces, the 3 chart layout. So this is what we talked about here on a kind of a lesser layout. Well, that's not what we're saying. A lesser layout here, and this takes out 2 of the higher time frames. Which again, like if you're grabbing 20 and 40 bags, do you need the high time frame? Not necessarily. Although it can be helpful. I still recommend you need to have those 5s. Trust me, you're going to know the day when you need it. Okay. Like you don't need it until you need it. It's almost like insurance sometimes. It's like you need to have that insurance, but it's not like you need it all the time. But when you need it, you need it. Okay. You need, like markets are moving like crazy. You're like, wow, I need to see what's going on. What's the 89? Today was a perfect day of an example. You saw me pull over the 89 and was like, okay, wow, look at this. Okay. We're getting just printing 89 range bars up to the upward direction. and you can just tell it's a grind. They're grinding up. We're not getting in the way of that train, right? And at the same time, I was able to take all shorts today. 128, I still remember it, 128 tick move today. It was awesome that I caught off of one of my favorites, the Titanic Zone off of NQ. Then we had another one that we got off of the Dow. I believe it was only 68 ticks on that one. Didn't get the full 100 out of that one, but that's our bread and butter 100 tick play. And that was awesome, but making sure that you are staying on sides. Speaking of staying on sides, do me a favor real quick. Let's take a quick break. Smash that like button for me. Yeah, we got a bunch of people hanging out here with us. Let's grab some likes here as we're going along in our live stream. Okay, so let's the 3-chart layout. If you are on a laptop or your PC is struggling, that 3-chart layout is going to be helpful there to you, and it might be something you actually prefer. Some people like a little bit less information. Like, it's okay, I kind of get it. Let's talk about each of the different types of charts. We talked about tide, wave, ripple, all of the narratives around the idea of water coming from Alexander Elder's book, Day Trade for a Living. The tide chart. The tide chart is the highest time frame chart in Algobox. It's an 89 tick range chart. That 89 is important. It is a fib number. Not going to get deep into the fib stuff here, but we have reasons for all the things. When we are building out our fractals, I build out fractals based on Fibonacci sequences. It's a general thing. I'm not the inventor of that. Other people have done that over time. I am a stickler on running numbers that are fractals of Fibonacci. Fibonacci is in all throughout nature and numbers and math. It's a thing. Okay, so we start with the 89 as our absolute highest level there. And if we were like, what's the one beyond that? It's 144. On a rare occasion, and probably only on NASDAQ, you might see me pull a 144 chart on occasion when it's just been a monstrosity, as it has been in the last 2 weeks. Prior to this one, things have kind of slowed down this week, but it was absolutely nuts there when all the tariff talk was coming. It was like terrifying. It was some crazy times, amazing numbers, high volatility. We crushed it. It was awesome. Remember, VIX up, ticks up for us. Higher the VIX, the more ticks for us. Now, you need to take some practice with it. I'm not saying everybody's going to make more. It can still be dangerous. Trading is risky, blah, blah, blah. But with a system like ours, they can't hide. The wave chart. So the next one down from the tide, going to the wave chart. This is the only chart that changes week by week. We run an optimization for you. We're going to talk about optimization here. If you heard us say, hey, can I get the optimizations for the week? What we're talking about is this little chart right here that is going to be posted on Sunday nights or early Monday mornings that are going to come from myself or one of our moderators in the chat, okay? So you're going to be looking for this. You want to modify this chart. This is the only chart you have to fart with right here. This is it. Our system comes out of the box. It's a beautiful thing about AlgoBox. You set it, and then you just don't have to change stuff. Except one other. What is it? Anybody remember? What else do you have to... I'll give you a hint. Tune. The word tune. What is the only other thing that I talk about tuning? So you got to tune this chart once a week, the beginning of the week, on a Monday or Sunday night before you start to play. You want to tune in and put the optimized range on your wave chart. That's one. What's the other one? AO. George got it. Yes, the AO. The Alpha Omega. The Alpha Omega. Oh, somebody just brought up another one though. The AlgoBars. That's true. If you're going to be adjusting on speed. Now that's not absolutely necessary. That is more, that's preference to you. But the optimizations and the Alpha Omega tuning, and again, it is, I guess, both preference. So I'll give that to you. Yes, AlgoBars as well, that you might want to adjust the AlgoBars for speed based on speed intraday at your leisure. You might want to change those. But this is not a scenario where if you're looking into other systems that are out there and like, oh, they give you too many options. It's like, oh, there's this tool. Use it however you want. Yeah, pick whatever settings you want. Oh, whatever setting. I have fine-tuned the settings and we optimize every 4 minutes internally for our system to stay in tune with the markets on the regular. And that's one of the hardest things to do. That's one of the advantages of AlgoBox, that it's continuously optimizing throughout the day. It starts the week with a big optimization, and then intra-week, it is continuously optimizing every 4 minutes. Pretty awesome. Okay, wave chart is the second largest size chart using range bars. The range bar size setting for each instrument changes every week using robotic optimizations of historical data intended to adapt with changing market patterns in accordance to the BOW concept, which I talked about yesterday. The BOW, go run back, backtest, optimize, walk forward concept, run by yours truly. BOW, there it is. Backtest, optimize, walk forward, take a bow, BOW. And of course, we talked about yesterday, and the third one, the M at the end, the BOW. What is the M? Anybody remember? Monte Carlo. I don't know why I like that word. Monte Carlo simulations. Each week, the new optimized ranges are posted in our Discord on Sunday evenings or Monday morning. Historical optimized ranges are available to premium members to assist in practicing market replay, Trader 8 playback mode. Right? So you'll hear us talk about market replay. These two words are synonymous. What are they? You hear somebody say this. This is old school. NinjaTrader 7 used to call it. So you hear everybody say, what's market replay? And they're like, what's that? New people, they're like, they just coming around to NT8, they call it playback. Don't know why they changed it. Sure, they had some reasoning in their marketing, whatnot, but these are synonymous. If you hear somebody say NinjaTrader playback or market replay, same, literally the absolute same. But when we went to NinjaTrader 8, you're going to be looking for the word playback, but you'll hear me. I've been around too long. I have a hard time getting out of saying market replay. So if you hear me say it, please forgive me. The optimized weekly ranges. What is important here? We only care about this basically one little column right over here. If you want to get into the details, even further, you can. For the nerds in the room, you can dig deep into the stats if you wish. But what we care about is right here, these two columns. You basically just need to line up whatever instrument that you're going to be playing on. So oftentimes I am, right now on the live stream, I'm trading on YM, and I also have in queue generally on the live streams. There are other instruments, obviously not including for the bots that are running on full auto, but I'm saying the ones that are being shown in the live streams, I could care about basically this number right here. So you got 36. That column is the range that I'm going to put my wave chart on, and that is what we call the optimized range, referred to here on this as the period. What is the period that we're going to be using? And in our case, this is run through a full optimization thing, and there's a whole video around that. Again, we are doing this quickly, so I'm not going to go into details of how all that's done, how the sausage is made there. Just know that I run a detailed optimization at the beginning of every week, working on the most recent data that has come in over the last X number of weeks. And then I'm going to be posting this out to the chat so that you guys can adjust these, and you'll literally just put this and plug it into each of the wave charts. So if you're trading 4 instruments, you're going to do this 4 times. You set the YM, you set the RTY, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. Pretty easy. Now, if you got questions on that, please post them there in the chat. There's a whole video around how to do this, and I'll show it to you here in just a moment. There are also details on how to do this right here in our documentation. So if you ever forget, remember, just go up here, right click, or not right click, just click on the search criteria button right up here up top, and then type in what you're looking for, and it will take you right to the spot that you need to get, okay? If you click on the wave chart you want to update, type the new number with the letter R. Now, why R? R stands for range. Now, don't get lost on that. So earlier when I showed you that this was the number 36, so on this week, whatever week this was where we took the screenshot, I need to go to my wave chart on the Dow, and I'm literally going to type the number 36R. This is my chart for the wave chart. I'm just clicking anywhere. Click anywhere in the chart. Just make sure that the chart is selected, and then just start typing. Okay, so it's like putting your little cursor. As soon as you click, you'll get a cursor blinking at you, just like this one. Type 36R, hit enter, bloop. Your chart will all of a sudden magically do all this recalculation, and all of a sudden you'll have the 36 range. And up here up top, you will see 36 range in your little title bar at the top where it says what this is running on. And then all of your little bars on your graph will be tuned to each bar being exactly 36 per, and that gets fed into other calculations on the rest of your charts, as well as this one where we're looking for our best play setups for the week, okay? It'll stand for Alpha Omega. Alpha Omega crosses, those are the big giant green and red crosses. Optimized range stays the same all week long, yes. General rule of thumb, yes. There could be some massive exception. Let's say that Wednesday, FOMC comes out. On a random rare occasion, if I, at my discretion, I will look to see, it's like, man, it's massive change. Huge changeover on like a Tuesday, Wednesday from some massive thing. Maybe it's a crude oil inventories and some macroeconomic event. Things have widened out tremendously. I may want to rerun an optimization right there in the middle of the week, and then I will repost them, say, on like a Wednesday. But generally, it's once a week, the beginning of the week, but I will announce it in the premium member chat. There's a separate premium member chat. Any of the important information that needs to be kind of stuck there that you need to see most recently is going to go into the premium member chat. So there's less chatter in there, and it's less distracting because we have a bunch in the public chat, which is great. I love all the chat going on in public. But you're kind of like, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm scrolling forever to find the thing. Just go to the premium member chat. Anything important is going to be right in there. If I'm talking about optimizations for the week, or I'm talking about, hey, high volatility scenarios, something that you might need to change on your charts for the week, or some major news event or thing to look out for that week, I'm going to put it in the premium member chat to shorten your path to finding the information. Can you show the nerd on the one monitor? Can you explain that a little bit further, Dan Sabu? What do you mean? Can you show the nerd on one monitor? In general, I would not necessarily do that. I think I was talking about this maybe on your phone, on something that was a small device, because it's very narrow. I wouldn't take up an entire screen with just this. I know it did show that in one of our screenshots there, but in general, it's just saying, hey, you also want the MACV off on one of your screens there. It is a major component, but you might want to have it on something smaller. And I'm gonna go to, that actually leads me to kind of one of the pro tips on Discord. So let's so if you forget any of this stuff, by the way, just come in here, type Discord, and go right here and watch this little video here. Fix your Discord layout. Remember, almost all these sections, the way that we have this designed is we're going to have a lot of information and details in the documentation, and then there's going to be a video at the bottom. So depending on how you approach things, if you're like, we assume that if you're coming to the documentation, you're looking for documentation this way, but if you're looking for the video is going to be down at the bottom. Makes sense? If you're searching for video, you might want to go to YouTube and type in and search for it. But if you want the related one and you know that you're going to get it, it's going to come right here. Now, we also have, as I mentioned yesterday and showed you guys, we now have Algobox GPT. You guys will all be getting a link to that. If you are here in our bootcamp areas, you'll get the Algobox GPT right here. That is fully programmed with all of the information from our documentation and our live streams and our training content. All my transcripts of our training videos have all been programmed into this boss level Algobox GPT. Ask it a question. You're like, hey, I want to know about the Discord layout. Tell me about Vinny's Discord layout recommendations. So, and this should have references as well where you can click on it. Let's see, it's talking to you about how to go and search for them, multiple screens, going on and on and on. Very, very cool stuff. Go check out some of those. Have fun with it. If you're a big Chat GPT fan, you'll be a fan of Algobox GPT to ask it your questions on any of that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's just better just come over here into the documentation. Let me hit those tips on Discord, which also include the stuff about what you just said there. Blocking impersonators and scammers is very important to me for you guys not to get caught into these scams. Please refrain from direct messages. Just bad things happen in direct messages. Bad information gets passed along. Drama happens in DMs. Just don't get on DMs. All right. But there are people who impersonate me. Be very, very careful. This will show you a quick little Giphy on how to report fake scammer accounts. I'm not going to DM you and ask you to invest with me in crypto. Send me some crypto tokens and I'll trade your account. That's not going to happen. So make sure don't fall for the scams. Let's see. Start here section. I think you're all past that. The search function, good to know. If you are searching for something that you can't remember, there's a search feature in the top right-hand corner of Discord. Just type whatever you're looking for right up there. It will give you things like rooms or communications that have already been in there. The announcement section, very important. In fact, people are asking recently, how do I know about the bootcamp? Announcement section, top left-hand side of Discord up there. Brokerage info. There's a little section on the left-hand side there for brokerage info. If you're wondering how you might want to get started, if you're doing live accounts, again, we're not an introductory broker. You don't care which broker you use, as long as it's compatible with NinjaTrader, go to town. A lot of people are doing trader funding programs. We are fully compatible with trader programs, trader funding programs, as we mentioned a lot yesterday. Frequently asked questions on the left, FAQs. I do recommend using the ask questions section here because a lot of times you want some more nuance. Most people are asking something more detailed. Put it in the ask questions section. Someone will answer it there very soon. The actual bot itself here on Algobox GPT will be incorporated to that to answer those questions directly. And if it doesn't fully answer it, I will also go through the questions that are in Ask the Question section, and I will answer those in Mentorship Mondays at the beginning of every week. Languages, you kind of probably get that. We do have some Spanish channels and some others. We've got the MACV Ultimate Indicator, very important for you to know where that's located. On the left-hand side, you simply go under Tools. We have this under a category called Tools now, and you go to the MACV Ultimate Filter, and that is where you'll get the stream of the nerd that we just talked about earlier, which I think gets to the question that you asked earlier. Can you show us what that is? Left-hand side of Discord, click MACV Ultimate on the left on the tool there, and then you can arrange that how you want, and I'll show you some little tips and tricks on how you might want to do that. There is a plugin for Chrome and others where you can kind of hide the sidebars and make that just very narrow and that be the only thing on your screen, which a lot of the members in here do have. It's called the Discord sidebar hider or something, hidden hide Discord sidebar is what it's called. If you're looking up the plugin on Google, just type in hide Discord sidebar and you'll find that plugin there if you'd like to hide the other stuff around it. So you just have just the MACV Ultimate right there on your screen. Testimonial section, I think it's been renamed to Post Profits, I believe, because I do recommend that people just, hey, rather than do a testimony of, oh, this price is great, just chill the numbers. At the end of the day, results matter. Okay, so check those out if you haven't already. Third-party verified track record. This is the full collective 2 that we did back in, I forget, like one of the first years that we came out there. We actually had a trade copy service. Please do not look. We're not doing trade copy right now. Not to be confused with, we do have a trade copier software. Don't be confused with, hey, I'll copy Vinny's account. There's none of that. Okay. We did do that at one time. I did a whole, you were able to copy my trades directly into your account. And we did that for 2017, 2018, I think, into the Forex accounts. And there's a whole track record on that. You can go check that out. News. Let's see. The newsroom. Important. So this is like a steady feed of information from our, we do pay for a service to get that news coming into that little room over there. Should be very handy to you if you're like, hey, market just moved really fast. We're all tempted to do this. Again, I'm not a big news guy in general, but sometimes you want to know, right? It's like, what in the world just happened? Something absolutely crazy. Look in there in the news and you will see some little posting in there that might have just occurred if the market just did something pretty wild. Premium members only section, you get access to that once you become a member. Tech support tickets, also on the left-hand side. Easiest way to get involved, or not really get involved. You get any of your questions answered, open up a ticket real quick. Our guys can remote in and help you or just get you pointed in the right direction. Vinny's tips and tricks, this is where you're going to do your printouts, like my little 5-trade sheet that I got over there on the left-hand side of the screen, along with the digital versions of a lot of really cool stuff in the tips and tricks area. You want to go and check that out. A lot of little neat stuff, little neat, cool, nifty stuff in that area. Trading wisdom. If you've been around our system for a while and you heard all the different things that we do, this is a kind of a conglomeration of the stuff that if you didn't take notes, or you might have wondered, well, where should I have taken notes? Little tidbits from the notes are dropped in the trading wisdom section. Oh, speaking of, there's the hide Discord sidebar extension that we just talked about. We do recommend going ahead and maybe take the pause on this video if you're watching this later. Go install that extension and you'll be able to hide the servers area by pressing that little button there. And you can hide the members over there on the right, and you can just squeeze this whole thing in so that it's a nice narrow bar there for you. And you can stick that on the side of your screen somewhere or on a phone device, tablet, etc. Volume adjustment, that's less important these days because we don't have the audio box in Discord anymore. Now you've got it local to yourself. Hiding the members list, pretty easy. If you want to hide and show and hide the members list, there's a little button up there up at the top right of Discord to hide the members list, to just clear that area out and save yourself some space on your layout. And then here is the video there walking through all of the stuff that we just covered there in that section here this evening. Optimize ranges, back to that. Any questions around how to do that? I'm going to give an example right now. Let's go up here. Can't talk here. Let's come up here to the top left, and I've got my charts laid out locally here. Let me connect my data feed and we'll pull up some live charts. Now it is after hours. It's 6:30 in the even time here. And let me switch workspaces here. I'm going to go to our 5-chart layout and I will show you a live example of switching my chart wave to, we just saw we were supposed to do, was it 36? Okay, so remember this. Right here, we are on 36. All right, so let's go to my charts. Let's go up here to my top left, training top left. Hopefully this with the magic of OBS. Here we go. Okay, so here's the 5-chart layout, and this is on my local machine right now. So over here on the left, this is the wave. So getting used to where these charts are. Remember, tide, wave, main filter, we refer to as the MACV chart or Mac local. Then we have our big small, what are they called? Ripples. So if you look very closely, they're labeled right here. See, it says Ripple Chart Pin Point Entry Strategies for Target 1 and Target 2. So they are kind of labeled for you up there. There's the secondary Ripple entry chart for medium to large targets, targets 1 and 2. So they are labeled there for you, hopefully to kind of teach and train you as you go along the way. So what do I need to change? I've got to change one chart. What is it? The wave chart right here. So real simple. Remember what I got to do? Click anywhere. Boop. Now I've highlighted the chart, and it doesn't matter where I type it. I'm going to type 36R, correct? 36R. And you'll notice it starts to type in that little dialog right here. So the natural dialog will just pop up. Don't worry, it looks clear to whatever. This is just a shortcut. Now there are other ways to do this. I'll show you like what we're doing to shortcut this. This is just the way that I teach our members to do it because it's super fast this way. 36R, it knows. 36 range. And I'm going to hit enter, okay? So, oh, currently, what are we currently on? So you need to pay attention. I'm currently on 24 range up top on the Dow, and I need to go to 36. So watch what happens. 36R, enter, loading, boom. That fast, we're ready to go. See, painless. And yes, depending on how many instruments you have, you might have to do that 3 or 4 times. If you have 4 instruments that you're trading, you do that 4 times. You look over there, you're like, okay, Dow is 36, NQ is 38, the ES is 23, and you know, so basically just look at the number and just type it in. This is all you got to do. You set it at the beginning of the week, and then you hit save workspace, and you're good to go. You're ready for the week. Changes when you change it. What happens if you get hit by a bus? Do we lose the ability to find optimized range or other aspects of Algobox? So do you think I'm the only person here? I am not the only person here, my friend. This is a full company. There are multiple people involved here. So if you hear me calling out their names all the time, there's many people. I don't say many, but there are definitely more people than me. If I get hit by a bus, trust me, there are other people who are picking up the pieces. I assure you of that. So, but thanks for that. Appreciate it. Jay Collins, you will learn how to run your own optimizations.
Harmonics.
And if you, platinum members can run their own optimizations as well. So let's talk about that. Once you get to the full auto section, you'll learn how to run your own optimizations through the entire training program. And if basically my guys, they all know how to do this optimization, but you don't have access to that. This is a proprietary optimization here on this
Harmonic YM
okay.
on the
But if you were running optimization for enigmas or 2-finger salutes or whatever, I have a overly broad. It incorporates multiple of our strategies to catch what is. It's sort of like in horseshoes and hand grenades. It's not. You don't want pinpoint precision. You're not trying to get exact because you don't want to overfit. You're trying to find what's the best. You're trying to hit bell curve. If you don't, I'm about to go full nerd here on you. Hopefully you studied in school and remember the old bell curve. Okay, I'm trying to optimize for the meat. I want the meat of this sucker, right? I want the main. I'm not interested in the edge cases. I don't want to say I'm not interested, but you know what I'm saying. We're optimizing for if in the majority of all cases, what is the best range to be running on? Does that make sense? This is how the optimization is the short answer of how that works in general. You learn to run your own optimizations. Yes. So all platinum members have access to running optimizations, and our guys can obviously do that as well. So I just showed you how to change the ranges. Let's come back down here to our window there. Any other questions on that? Pop them there in the chat and we'll get them answered. Click on the wave chart, required 36R. This is an example there with the little Giphy in case you guys forget and come and want to walk back on it. The MACV chart, used for filtering trade direction. Trades can be taken on this chart at your own risk, but it is recommended since stop loss and distance will be much larger, thereby increasing your risk, and targets will also be farther away, making them less likely to be reached and or take longer to play out. So why I have the ripple entry charts. Let's come back up here to the top left. So we're talking about the MACV chart. So not to be confused with the MACV Ultimate. The MACV Ultimate is basically combining this chart for 4 correlated instruments known as the nerd. Okay, so it's the MACV times 4. That's what that is. So this is what I call the local MACV, local to the Dow, what I'm currently trading. And then you have the MACV Ultimate, which is the conglomeration of the nerd when I'm referring to the nerd. So while you can take trades off of this one, generally my philosophy is I want to look for high time frame opportunities which have high time frame rewards with lower time frame risk. So I'm maximizing my reward potential and minimizing my risk. So I want to enter in on a large small ripple chart to reduce my risk on my entry with a high time frame reward opportunity of something setting up on a higher time frame, entering in on a play setup on a lower time frame. Any questions around that? I do want to make sure you understand what I just said there. If there are any questions, or did I hit that, nail that, where everybody's got that? If we're good, type a 1 for me. When you change the wave, does that affect the other screens? It does. There's our questions. When you change the wave, does it affect the other screens? Yes. That optimization I told you, it happens every 4 minutes. Like, that comes into play.
Harmonic.
Okay, Ripple B and Ripple A. So you'll hear me refer to Ripple A and Ripple B. Important note right now. Know which one is which, because we get this question a lot. Which one is Ripple A? Which one is Ripple B? So Ripple A, this is the lowest. This is the one we're entering in on most of the time. This is the lowest risk on my 5 chart layouts. Ripple A. That is the one that you're normally going to have your Enigma bot packs on. You'll see the Dream Panel pack running on this one. B. Generally you go A to B, and this one's larger. So B is large, A is small. So Ripple A is above. I'm sorry, Ripple A is at the bottom chart, and then Ripple B is on top. Okay, let me just read this through here. Ripple B is one of the final charts to look at for the setups. This is the higher time frame of the Ripple charts, usually being a 3 to 8 range bar. Smallest time frames is the lowest time frame, usually being a 1 to 3. AlgoBar, depending on the instrument and market speed. Now, speaking of market speed, just recently we had absolutely insane level volatilities with that market speed, so we had to actually up that. Some of them on NASDAQ, like the lowest chart we could put was like 7 recently. I think I was running off a 9 for a couple days there. It was just insane the amount of speed that was coming in on that, which was a lot of fun though, by the way, when those were running. It was great, but you do have to make those adjustments when the market is hitting that hot. Okay, so in a laptop configuration, this is kind of showing that you might want to, if you've got a lower end old school laptop or something and you limited monitor space, you might want to just go with a 3 chart layout here, which is in this one. Remember, this was called the flag layout. You're going to hear me refer to the flag a lot. Well, that's terrible writing. Hopefully you guys can read my terrible writing there. That's a flag, the flag layout there on a laptop. When using the 3 chart layout with limited screen space, utilize the NinjaTrader Chart tabs may enhance your trading experience. So the tabs, I don't really recommend doing this too much. It ends up causing some other issues for confusion, but if you want to, there is a tabbing feature. If you want to do it, go for it. You can add a tab to, like, let's do the highest time frame. You go over there to the MACV chart, and then you can add the tabs down here to have the tide and the wave hiding back behind it. But generally, if you're on a laptop, you're usually on there because you've got some reduced horsepower, and so you might want to reduce that horsepower, and rather than flipping back and forth to things, I feel like it can tend to be a little bit more distracting. But you could put those on tabs so they're back behind there and switch in between them. Just make sure, be careful if you're tabbing on these, because people are like, oh, I can tab on this one. If you tab here on these, this is a no. This is a time to listen to what I'm saying. Okay, I'm time. Pay attention if you've been falling asleep on me here, because I'm doing preacher voice here on, and you're sleeping in the back row. This is the time to wake up for just a minute. Do not tab these charts because of the way that Position Manager works down here, because of the way that our button entries on ATMs work, because of the way that our full auto entries work when you've got the Dream Panel turned on and you're tabbing in between. You're going to get things all kinds of jacked up. You're going to end up having multiple buttons over here. You're going to have overlapping buttons. You're not going to know which ones are which. It is a nightmare. Don't do it. Do not tab on the Ripple charts when possible if you're going to be entering on them. Now, if you're going to do it without entry buttons or any of that kind of stuff and you're not worried about it, okay, do your thing. But just know, in general, don't do it. We don't support it, and it's not supported. It's going to cause you problems. On the MACV chart, can we get audio alerts for the arrows, please? So remember, there is a wish list section. Anything that you might want or desire. We actually had that on at one point. People were complaining that it was alerting too often. When the market gets really hot, it's like there's like a ton of alerts and people want to turn them off. So we turned them off by default and actually removed it. But if you guys want that back, anything is possible. So put it in the wish list section on the left hand side of Discord. Just a matter of us turning it back on. We can definitely do that. If you guys really want it, yeah, we can do that. So wish list section, great way to talk about that inside of Discord. Go to the wish list and just type it out. Please include a screenshot when possible. Picture's worth 1,000 words. I'm not going to, by the way, if you describe something and you can't describe it well enough for me to know what you're talking about, I will not ask you about it. Okay. I'm not going to come and ask you about it. I'm not going to spend time on it. If you can't succinctly and specifically and give enough detail to it, and you're a BS project manager, again, you guys are going to find out I am not a fan of project managers. And if you hate me for it, don't care, because I hate you for it too. I cannot stand project managers in general. You guys are just fluff puffers. You're like, oh, just say some buzzword and, oh, can you do a thing? And take credit for everybody's work. I hate it. Hate it. I do. Generally, sorry. Hate you. Jesus loves you. Okay. I don't. If you can't describe it in detail, don't waste my time. All right. Next, I get off my soapbox on the project managers. All right. Ooh, we got a detailed question here. For A/B numbers on Ripple A, do you progressively make adjustments for market conditions? Generally speaking, part one, yes. Obviously, also have a rule of thumb scenario. I love the ones. Like the lower the risk and the more opportunity, the better. So for me, I would love the ones. If the market is slow enough to let me play the ones, I'm going to be on the ones. Now, on NASDAQ, that's basically never. Okay, you never have an opportunity to go the ones on NASDAQ. I don't say never. Maybe in the afternoons when things get super slow or some meandering noonday, lunch day scenario. But generally, NASDAQ is never going to let you go to the ones. NASDAQ is generally twos. ES, you can pretty much go on ones all the time. So I've generally got a Ripple A. I want to get, it's sort of that whole question of, do you want to get paid more for your time at work? Like if your boss offered you, hey, I want to give you more opportunities per day in a shorter period of time, meaning your hourly rate is higher or lower? Do you want the hourly rate higher or lower? You want the hourly rate of higher, right? With the less risk, I want a higher rate and I want more opportunities. So I'm going to go as low as I can go, as fast as I can go. I want to trade the NASDAQ ones. That is the absolute fastest of all things currently in the future space. Yes? Everybody understand that one? And this comes into our gear shifting scenarios that we'll talk about here. Again, that's a more advanced topic, but we might even tap in on it right now because you're asking about that. But generally, yes, I'm going to go to as low as I can go with being able to control it, right? It's sort of like I want to go as fast as my car as possible safely, right? Do I want to drive 120 miles an hour in my vehicle? If I get there safely, yes. Do I want it to make it feel like my car is rattling and the bolts are going to fall off and, you know, there's the wind is whistling in my windows or the windows are open and blowing my hair off of my face and my cheeks are flapping in the wind? No, probably not. So too fast, there is a scenario of too fast, right? So I want that happy medium, which is why in the speedometer, we have too slow, we have great speed, and we have too fast. And those are controllable by you. Everybody's different. Like I might like a faster speed than you. You might like it much slower. And so you can adapt that in your speedometer settings. But in general, so I know that's the long answer to answer your question, but that's what I do. I'm gonna throw a question answer. So here we go. E.g., start with AB1s. If too fast, go to AB2. If too fast, go to 3. Or you start with AB number immediately. Yeah, generally you're 100% right, sir. I would definitely want to start on the lowest and work my way up. Now, if I already know the market is crazy hot, I like, you know, generally I have a gauge of like, I've either heard something or I've seen people already have an issue, you know, like I can generally gauge what's about to occur in the morning. So if the market's at volatility, I don't want to open up with the ones if that occurs. Now, every single morning, this comes to our performance launcher. Okay, so inside of your NinjaTrader 8 folder, we have created and provided you this little bat file right here to launch every morning to make sure that we have cleared the cache, cleared the data off your charts, getting new data every day. I literally launch this every day. People are like, oh, do you run it every day? I run it every single day. Every single day. I don't think you should start NinjaTrader without running this in the mornings on a startup day. Ever. What about this? No, ever. Always run this for your first start. Now, what is the exception to that? If you have a crash the first time, I definitely want to run this. If it hangs when you run this on a first run because the market is super duper duper hot and it crashes, I actually want to run it again. And before I add the data, I want to then adjust and up my bars like what Greg was just saying. I'm going to up my bar size. So if I know that it's crashing on, say, the ones, I'm like, okay, I need to go all the way. Market's super hot, right? I might need to go 3 or 4s on my lowest time frame bar. Make that change before I make my data feed connection with a clean, because remember when I clean, it clears off everything off of the cache. This will literally solve a ton of your problems on any scenario. Just trust me, run it. It's going to be good for you. You'll like it. On the second run though, if I've run it once and now some data has been cached in on the second run, I don't want to run it again. Now I just want to run the normal NinjaTrader launch because we've already buffered what's called buffering the data. So if I've got, on a chart scenario where I've got 1 day of data, and it's loaded in, say, 100 bars, so it's at bar 100 and it crashes for whatever reason. Well, I don't want to load those 100 bars again. So those are cached, and those are cached inside of the files inside of the NinjaTrader folder. And those are the things that are getting cleared out with this bat file that we got for you to launch and clear them first and make sure that NinjaTrader is running high priority mode. Already done for you, but I don't want to reload those. So on the second run of this, I want to leave those 100 bars already cached, and now I'm starting from bar 101. And I run. So on the next one, I want to start and launch NinjaTrader executable, the standard shortcut, after I run this the first time. Does that make any sense? Any questions? Pop them there in the chat. Roll back the tape if you don't know what I'm talking about. and we go over this in the performance videos. So just hitting this while we're here answering questions from somebody coming in the chat. And we'll hit that later on as well when you get into the advanced tip stuff. But yes, will I go to it immediately? So final question is, or will I start with AB number immediately? Yes. So if I already know market is super hot, I will run my clearcache.bat. So all of our screens are cleared. Yes, it still says ones, but before I connect my data, I'm going to be like, okay, I know it's nuts today. I'm running this thing up. I'm going to run it a 4 or 5. I'll change that bar number and then connect. I think I know the answer to that. Just making sure. Start with 1, throttle it up. But I have also 1 or 2 more Ripple charts open. Yeah, and you kind of got to gauge it all over. Again, if you're going to do things outside the norm, you know, let's say you're on your own, but I'll give you the guidelines, you know, kind of showing you how it works, and then you kind of figure it out the way that you're mixing the cake. I'll show you how I make a cake, and if you want to make I'm like, okay, here's how I make a 2-layer cake, and you're like, I want to make a 4-layer cake. I want 5-layer cake. Okay, well, I'll take the concepts that I do from the 2-layer cake and apply it to the larger cake. Stack them up, baby. Stack them and rack them. If you have any problems, though, what do I usually say? Yeah, then maybe go back to what I say. Chart layouts. I think we are pretty close. Any questions around any of the chart layouts or anything like that? Full video right there on that. AlgoBars. We kind of started tapping into that. This is our, believe it or not, we're in the second section. We are Algobox's proprietary AlgoBars. We kind of touched on this a little bit last night. We do not use time-based bars. So the AlgoBars remove time from the equation instead of time-based candles. New bar prints only after a set price movement. This helps reveal true price structure and patterns often obscured on time charts. There's all kinds of stuff hidden in time charts. You're still using time charts. Time charts are where all great traders go to die. That sounds morbid, so replace the word DIE with something else. Discuss how different instruments are using different AlgoBar sizes. All right, so let's talk about some default ranges. Okay, so inside of AlgoBars, we have the concept of gear shifting. I think we're going to jump ahead here to gear shifting because this makes sense to talk about it here. Conceptualizing the gear shift tactics. So this is what Greg was just talking about a minute ago. What bar are you starting on? So he's talking, if you're a little bit confused by that, this is what he's basically saying. So what gear do I want to start in? The lowest, fastest gear with the least amount of risk scenarios when I'm putting my stops back behind our dot box cross or text is going to be down here on the ones. And then I need to shift to 2, to 3, to 4 as things start to get fast, just like in a car, right? The faster you go, you got to start running that up. I don't necessarily think you might want to pump in reverse, but you know what I'm saying. Got a 5-speed. There you go. We need to shift. Okay. AlgoBars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You kind of get the drift on that. During extreme volatility market times, it's common for some instruments to move too fast to trade, such as the NQ futures. I mean, come on. NQ is the wild child, as we know. In this case, a gear shifting tactic is applied to instruments. You may consider analyzing YM instead of NQ. So rather than necessarily staying on NQ, you might want to shift over to the Dow. You can actually shift instruments, and you can also shift bar sizes. Discretion. Okay. This is experience going on. You might want to ask somebody in the room, like, look, see what I'm doing on a live stream, get the feel for it. And over time, this is like an advanced kind of a thing of don't worry about it. If you don't get this initially, you'll know when you start to hit some really fast markets. Okay. It's the nature of the game, and we'll oftentimes keep you up to date with that by talking about it in the chats. Why you want to be inside of our community, because the community is going to help you out with that, especially coming into the live streams, because I'll be talking about it there as well. Gear shifting tactic is applied to instruments as well as bar sizes. You may consider analyzing YM instead of NQ. We already talked about that. If YM is still too fast, then RTY may offer a suitable speed. So shifting those gears, not just in bars like we did up here. Now we're going to show a graphic on shifting between instruments. Look at that. So fastest one, NQ. That's like gear number 1, gear number 2, gear number 3, and gear number 4. When you got to kind of shift down a little bit to slow things down because it's just getting a little bit too wild. Gear shifting instruments is not limited to, oops, we got a typo. Eddie, if you get a second, we got a typo right here. We got an NY, we mean NQ, YM, RTY. This is in the gear shifting section. There are many instruments available, such as crude oil, gold, FDAX, currencies, etc. Tip: know the tick value for each instrument you trade and assess your risk, size, positions appropriately. So I'm gonna manually intervene on this one because I don't see where they currently are. So here's what we're going to talk about. These are defaults for the MACV according to instrument, and we're talking about main instruments. because you're like, look, we can apply these to stocks and stuff like that. It will do a whole other thing on that. So let's start with the big dog in the room here. Let's do, so we got NQ, YM, RTY, ES, and then I'll also put in crude oil and gold. Okay, so the MACV local. Remember we talked about local, what you're going to do on the chart itself that you're going to be looking at. You're going to adjust those. And these are already built in internally to the MACV Ultimate. They're already built in this way. So I'll tell you what these are here. Let's get a... So for NQ, this is going to be AB space. Weird, AB9s. This one's going to be AB8s. This one's also AB8. This one is AB6s. Crude oil, AB7. Okay, now these are general guidelines around what you're going to set for these instruments. Now this is something that you're going to need to change if you are on a laptop and you're switching in between instruments. And you don't have to. It's not the end of the world if you don't do these and you want to go up or down. Once you get really good at things, just know that these are the defaults. Like I'm going to say, if you're asking like what are the default values, what I suggest, like our best case scenarios just in general, and these are based on generalizations of speed. Now, subject to change at any moment, because as you know, markets can just, they can change in a heartbeat, right? Any questions on this? Do you guys understand what I mean by changing this? Let's see. Hi, Vinny. If you change your lowest ripple chart to 4 or 5, then what AlgoBar setting will you put on the bigger ripple in MACV chart? Good question. Everything is relative. So if you're going to go all the way up to a 4 or 5, so let's say that it's in a scenario like a 4. And first of all, you would probably want to ask these in a scenario like it's per instrument. Okay, like this is a per instrument thing. You might want to ask on the day that this is occurring, because we're outlier scenario. We're talking about some outliers. Don't worry if you're getting lost on what we're about to talk about here. I am talking to answer Garb's question here, because he just had this issue with the most recent massive volatility. The tariff stuff, this is like, how do you trade during COVID? Okay. Like, how often is COVID going to happen? Once in a lifetime. How often is this tariff craziness going to happen? Maybe once in a lifetime, where it's a surprise, because now it's no longer a surprise, but the surprise component and it getting absolutely wild and whatnot. So your fear that you're having right now is like, well, what if I have to do that again? Okay, I get it. But in general, you might want to just follow along and check in the room and just ask, hey, I'm on this today. What do you think I should do for my other one? Because this is subject to change. So what I'm going to give you right now is a guideline. Remember, giving guidelines, concepts around it, not telling you hard line to do X, Y, or Z. With that being said, caveats aside, here we go. So if you go on a 4 as your absolute lowest, then on this one, I might do a 6 or a 7. And you're like, which one? It depends. It depends on you. If you want a little bit less risk, I'm going to probably stick on a 6, just slightly above. Bigger opportunities still, though. There's a massive difference in those small little changes to the bars. Remember that, okay? So 6 or 7, if I got a default, I'm going to go 4, 6. Now, 4, 6, this is plutonium's bread and butter, right? If you guys have heard me talk about my conversations with plutonium, he was hitting huge numbers. I mean, the guy was putting up $33,000 a day, $28,000 in a day, $22,000 in a day. He was just hitting massive, massive numbers. I'm like, I gotta learn. I can learn from the guy. And he said, basically, I'm doing everything you're doing, Vinny. I shifted this up to 4s and 6s on the NQ. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I started thinking about looking at it, like, whoa, let me try that. And sure enough, all of a sudden, like, I'm doing huge numbers as well. Like, it was pretty awesome. It's a change on NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ is pretty wild. It's 5 times the movement of, say, an RTY, almost 6 times an RTY. And about 3 or 4 times the size move on from the Dow. NASDAQ is a wild child. Higher risk, higher reward opportunities, so they go hand in hand. So 4 might do a 6. If you're up on a 5, right, might do a 7 or 8. Just general guideline. Make sense? Okay. But again, don't sweat it too much. Those are rare scenarios. Like markets absolutely going nuts. Normally you're going to be shifting, 1 or 2. So if you're on a 1, you might go to a 2. If you're on a 2, you might go to a 3. This scenario where we've had to go to like 4s, 5s, and 6s, that was again, like I said, we're black swan event scenarios where that has occurred recently on the tariff talk. All right. Other question here. I've added AlgoBar as a sub title to make it easier to find. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate that, sir. And he's making the change. Awesome. Spell corrected. Thank you so much. And FYI, in docs, MACV AlgoBar settings says differently. Needs to be updated. There it is. That's what I was looking for earlier, Greg. Thank you. MACV AlgoBars is really it's 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, that does need to be updated. Yeah, NQ on 8 is I've just learned too small. Got to go to 9s on that one. 7's not bad on YM and RTY. Just in general, the markets have gotten a little bit wilder, and with they've also gotten thinner. Probably because everybody's trading on trader funding programs these days. So subject to change. But yes, what was that? It was under default MACV. There, that's what I was looking for earlier. I was like, where am I going to find that? There it is. All right. Default MACV AlgoBar settings. Yeah, this does need, this needs a update. Oh, did you just, I think you just updated it now on the fly. Okay, well, there's the official answer as of right now. Again, this is baseline. It's not the end of the world if you're, you know, one bar size up or down on that. Make sense? General guideline. Good to have. Thanks for those likes. You guys rock. So, quick review of NinjaTrader interface basics relevant to AlgoBox. Opening charts, linking instruments across multiple charts, resetting, etc. Here we go. Let's go up top and let's do this with live examples. And differences in the AlgoBars and the time bars. There it is. Like I've told you before, there's stuff hidden inside of those. Now, this is being generous. Okay, whoever took a screenshot for us here, like they tried to do this as close as they could. This is probably like a seconds chart. Am I right? Like, Eddie, did you do this one? We probably should have done like a higher minute bar because like this isn't truly showing the impact of. In fact, Eddie, let's put this on our notes. We need a better picture for this. This has got to be like somebody did a seconds chart on this. I'm gonna blame Keegan. This looks like a seconds chart. This is cheating. All right, like this is normally you're not having all this detail. Like this is actually pretty darn good. The fact that they're down here on like this has got to be like seconds chart. This is not minutes, I doubt. But let's get something more dramatic. Normally you are going to see patterns inside of those bars like you're not going to see anywhere else, and you have the advantage of the overlap bars that will give you the pinpoint precision entry locations that we get with AlgoBars versus your standard bar types. Setting up your AlgoBars. This is a very important little video here. This will give you some cheats on how to do this drop down menu. Let me show you what that is. Make sure to get that set up right here on that video. Setting up your AlgoBars. Go watch this one. Go find this, set up your AlgoBars, because this is not out of the box during the install. There's a whole thing setting up in your config XML that we don't want to really mess with for NinjaTrader. So up here at the top left, let me show you what that is. So if you want this drop down convenience, then you'll need to go through that link. See how all these have the AlgoBars? If I hit the selection drop down right here, it gives me, if you're wondering like, hey, how come I don't have AlgoBars? That is a custom bar type. How come I don't have AlgoBars 1 through 9 like this? You'll be able to add that to your chart. It's very easy to add, but there are steps on doing that in this video right here. Okay, set up your AlgoBars in a flash. It'll show you how to do that. Just basically just click on configure under those custom bars, add AlgoBars and whichever numbers you want. This is a neat little quick video here. I'm gonna play this one here real quick, and I'm gonna take a quick break. It's got about 35 seconds or so here, and I need to take a quick break here.
Trading industry deserves a better class of trading software, and I'm gonna show it to you. Candlesticks, high price patterns. AlgoBars remove time to reveal true price movements. AlgoBox speedometer shows market speed.
Speed of NQ38.
Harmonic patterns plotted and predicted automatically for you. OrderFlow tools such as Flowmaster crosses, delta flagging, alpha, omega, and enigma detects and displays algos and large players in different ways. You can even hear them with AudioBox. AlgoBox, it's time to get serious. Try it for free at algoboxpro.com. No more joking around.
So AlgoBars, good. We'll hit contract rollover tomorrow. We are hitting NinjaTrader safe mode hotkeys, chart zooms, and all of that. Let's go here. Setting up your hotkeys. We talked and I showed you guys the keyboard. We went into a lot of that yesterday. Setting up your hotkeys. This is an important section over here, okay? You're gonna want those, all right? Like initially you're gonna think, oh, I don't need the hotkeys. You're gonna need them. May as well put them in at the beginning. Once you start using them, you never go back, okay? Once you start memorizing where the keys are on your setups, you're gonna wanna do this, okay? Trust me. Pretty easy. You're going to go into the tools, options, go to hotkeys, program your hotkeys. I'm not going to insult your intelligence on how to set these up, but we do have some key setups for yourself. If you look into the position manager, each of these already has a kind of a key combo assignment. You simply plug it into any of the buttons there. There's a whole set there on doing that. Make sure you do that. Just pause the video right now, go to this section, go set those up. If you look up top right here, got Control Alt Shift plus for stack 30, Control Alt Shift plus, like you're not going to want to hit these, okay? And it's plus the button over here. Oh shoot. Control Alt Shift L, O, and P for every other, tick far, all those types of things. But you want to bind those to keys that you want to use, like on your mouse or on your hotkeys over there on the left. Okay, make sure you get those set up. The button panels over on the right, the add bracket and all of that. Half and double, man, really half, you got to have something bound to half. You're going to use this a lot. Now, I still use this a lot with my mouse. I generally want to have my bicels on my left hand, and then I've got my controls on these generally on my right, but if you want to bind those to something, they are available to you. And there is a whole section right here on each of those hotkeys. You can go right in there and see what they are. Okay, double and half, H for half, D for double, and Control Alt and Shift. Now you can hold all those, Control Alt Shift, but nobody's gonna do that, right? Control Alt Shift D. All right, you don't want to do that. Bind that to another key. So bind Control Alt Shift D to one of our keyboard menu keys, which is why I tell you go ahead and get that keyboard that I've been telling you guys to do. NinjaTrader Chart Zoom. Control up, Control down. Let me show you guys what that does on our actual charts. Let's come up here to the top left. Control down. And I am zooming into this chart. Big one here to dramatically show you. Zooming in, or down, and Control up, Control down. This can be very handy. Sometimes you'll hear me tapping. I'm like Control up, 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 Control down, down, down. And there is a certain level that you want to set. You'll hear me say things like, don't have your charts too flat, okay? This is flat. Okay, feel it's kind of just flattened out, it's too expansive, and I'll always tell you, like, hit Control up a couple times. Tap. Like, hit it like 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're getting closer. Hit it about 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're getting closer. Maybe 2 or 3 more. Probably right about there in general. And eyeballing these things, you want to see enough data without too much, but you want the context of what's going on around you. Kind of the same question from before where someone was asking, well, don't I only need that last little sliver? Technically, yes, but in context, I think it's important and wise to have context of how far and what we're looking at in these scenarios. You'll start to kind of get a second nature around that. Okay, bar thickness. So if I want to make those bars thicker or narrower, let's zoom into them so we can see what that might look like. Now, right now, these are kind of in an overlapped state. Let me pull our text back here just a little bit. So if I want to make these thicker, I'm holding Alt instead of Control. Hold Alt and I can make them thicker, or I can make them thinner. Super narrow, right? And so get them just right. I like mine just slightly overlapped. I don't know why, just visually I like it, or right side by side to each other like this. Now this will change as you zoom back in. So you'll kind of want to play Control up, 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 and Alt up and down until your bars look, something comfortable. Or again, I really like you to have them the same way I have them, so that when I'm teaching something, it looks the same on your chart as mine and the rest of our crew. That way everybody can help each other out. If you're playing with different tools and different rules, it's easier to be cohesive in that. Bar thickness, we talked about that one. So that was the Alt up and Alt down. Okay, chart layers. This is also important. Let's go up to the top one more time here. Chart layers. Things can be laid on top of each other, and sometimes you want something to show a little bit more or less. Training top left here. So let's give an example of, how about the harmonics? If I really want the harmonics, like if I'm a big harmonics player, I want these harmonics to really showcase and really show up. I'm going to select and hold the Shift key, and I'm going to select the objects that I want to pull forward. Like, think of things laying on top of each other, okay? They're layers. Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. And if you want the thing on layer 3 to come up to be layer 1, I want to pull it forward or backward, and that is done with your scroll wheel on your mouse. Okay, so I'm going to hold shift and scroll. It's as simple as that. I'm going to click my item, I'm going to hold shift, and I'm going to scroll. I'm going to zoom this one in front, and now you'll notice how now the harmonics are all the way in the front. Now, if that's distracting and I want to see more of the bars, a lot of people are like, okay, I want to shift it back, and you can see the layer number. It's kind of a little bit hard to see on my mouse because I have a gigantic mouse for accessibility mode, so you guys can see it a little bit better. But see how now the charts are back and front, now it's behind, right? Front and behind, back and front. Okay, it's subtle, but you can send it back or you can send it forward. I actually like mine right in front. I'm a big harmonics player, so I like to have mine out front. By the way, all these, we'll go into this in detail later. You can change the colors of your harmonics. You can actually turn the harmonic drawings off and just have the PRZ levels, which also kind of looks pretty neat. You can have them in different colors. I've seen really neat ones with like pink and blue. So that is up to you. But the key there is select and hold shift, the scroll wheel to move anything on the chart. Let me show one more. Let's go and move. How about the enigmas aren't really on top of anything. Had some fib dots. I could probably do those. You get it. You guys are smart. Hold shift and scroll on anything. Let's do the whole charts. It's like, let's say sometimes some people want the chart bars themselves, are like, I just want the bars in front of everything. All right, hold shift and scroll down until it is at level 1. Okay, now the bars are going to be right in front of everything. Notice the cross back there is behind it. So let's say that I want to put the cross in front so that the cross really stands out. I continue to scroll backwards until there we go. Now the cross is in front. All right, coming back down. And so that is holding shift and scroll wheel up and down to move something layer forward, layer backwards. Important to know. The ruler, Control Y. Now I don't use that one, but Control Y, super handy. You'll see me use this all the time for measuring distances on things. I have a key specifically bound for that one separately. And let's manually do this one. So ruler, if I want to measure like how far was this from here to here, how many ticks did I make? And so you'll see me using this a lot on my live streams. I'm like, all right, that's 171 ticks right there. Now I have mine set to green and all these kind of crazy cool colors. You can set all the settings on that, go into properties on this and change that. Also very important, I think, set this to ticks because we always talk about in tick values, because otherwise by default it's set in points and that's super annoying. So set it to ticks, change your colors however you want, save as default, and you'll have it there all the time. I'm just going to run through these quickly. So let's come down here to the bottom left. You guys can come through this whole section here on the left. I'll just show you where to go to get the hotkeys and the various things that we do on screen. Okay, that region, this is the one that I do all the time for the Titanic zones. Okay, Shift F2. I actually have this bound to a spot on my mouse, as I actually mentioned earlier today in the live stream. There it is right there. We got a nice little Giphy there for you to see what that does. So that is pressing the button and then highlighting a region like that. And so I'll do that on the Titanic zones. I'll also do that same thing for measuring in, like, let's say I'm looking in an accumulation zone. Markets have not been very slow recently, so we don't do that as much. But when the markets are slow, that is much more important to be able to draw those in. Visually enhancing that, especially for DCRs, double cross reversals versus double cross double moves. Control E, I use this a lot to kind of show my executions. I don't like them they're very distracting, seeing all the text all over the screens. So Control E is a quick toggle for showing your executions, turning them on and off. There is an example right there. Popping them on, hit the target, and then now Control E, you can press it twice because the first one does the little tag. The second one adds the text. Safe mode, opening in NinjaTrader safe mode. This is usually if you're having to get in with tech support. You don't usually see me doing this very much. I pretty much never have to use safe mode, but depending on what's going on with your PC or whatever, you might have to do this. Hold Control while you launch NinjaTrader and it goes into safe mode. If you only do that if tech support tells you to do that. The Chart Trader. I usually never turn this on or off. Hold on a second. The Chart Trader can be hidden off or on. Yeah, I pretty much don't ever use that. But if you want to turn it on or off, there's a little button up here on the top. You just click this one right here. I don't know if you need a hotkey for that. I wouldn't waste a hotkey on it because you basically don't want to do that very often, but that will turn. So all of my little buttons over here, it will disappear if I press this button. So Chart Trader off, bloop, now it's gone. I never use that, like ever. All right, the Logitech G300. We talked about this one yesterday. Make sure you pick up one of those mice while they are still around. Very cool little graphic Giphy here on setting up your various hotkeys we talked about before. There is, oh, I love this graphic. I did not know we had this one. Eddie, you rock star. Or Keegan, I'm not sure which one. Guys, you guys are awesome. So we showed the screenshot from yesterday, but this is what I've got set up there for my buttons. You guys saw yesterday when I zoomed in with the video camera on my buttons here. I got little stickers on them, but G1 through G6 that you have on that Corsair keyboard, and you're like, well, I like my Logitech one. Don't combine Logitech and Logitech. Keep them separate. Corsair, Logitech, keep a separate one. Okay, and then there's videos around those. Opening charts, linking charts. Let's talk about linking charts. That is important. Come up here to the top left. Play. This is if you fell asleep during that part, wake up. Everybody wake up one more time here. Top left. You need to know how to link and unlink stuff, or you're going to be like, what is going on? I don't want to change all these charts because we have to do contract rollover, which we're going to be talking about tomorrow. One of our first things we talk about tomorrow is contract rollover and what that is and why you might have to do it and when you have to do it and all that kind of fun stuff. All these charts are actually currently color linked with blue. How do I know that? In the corner of the screen there, you notice this little subtle color right there. That is a blue square. That's it. That is called color linking. Up top on one of the other charts, you'll see up here, this one is blue. That means it's color linked. And over here, see, it's blue. Also color linked. All of these charts are color linked to blue. Why is that important? It is because if I change this contract month, I'm going to go ahead and shift this to NQ. Hopefully I have data for it right now. Loaded. Let's see. I'm going to right click and go instrument NQ. I don't want to have to change this on all 5 charts, right? Do I really want to go to every chart and do this? Or can I just change it on one and it will color link? Because they're all color linked, they will all change. Simple as that. Okay, right click. I change one chart and they all change. The ones that are color connected. Now there are going to be times it's like, you know what? I want to change just this chart by itself, but I don't want the other ones to change over to NQ. Right now I'm not connected to data, so I don't have any NQ data. So let's say that I wanted to change only this chart. I literally set it to either another color or no instrument linking. And now I can change this one back to the Dow only for just this chart. And that is called color linking. So now this was unlinked. And yeah, no. So if I come back, set it to blue, now it's going to be, well, all these are blue. So look, I got no data because it's on NQ now, right? See how it changed to NQ? Simple as that. Now it's color linked. I switch this one to, how about another one? I go up here, right click, and I change this one to the Dow. And now all 5 are going to load for me. Very, very handy if I'm wanting to switch instruments. So that was a good one. So we talked about color linking, NinjaTrader performance. So knowing where your performance windows are, let's come down here to the bottom left. Oops, not the chat here. Come down to bottom left. Bottom left. Okay. And talked about those hotkeys, all that. Okay. So we're going to go to, oh my God, on the chat thing. Okay, so second generate. Okay, so let's look at performance charts. So how do you launch performance charts? So if you are, let's go over here to your main control center. So this is your main NinjaTrader control center. That is this bad boy right here. So you basically go on this and you click on new and trade performance right here. Okay, you'll want to track these things as you go along. Okay. So now let's look at my performance earlier today. Remember I said like I was like, wow, this is really interesting. I was shorts only today. I didn't even realize that until afterwards I looked at my stats today. Sometimes it's handy to know that. And yes, I have found over time when I'm looking at my stats, I'm like, wow, I hit the short side a lot. And then remember how I told you earlier today that fast favors the bears, slow favors the bulls. Well, I like things to move fast and quick, and I can grab those quickly. It just it's a kind of a natural habit for me to go on the short side of things. But here's how I would look at my stats. So for today, 77% profitable there. Profit factor 11.5. My winners were 11.15 times the size of my losers. That is huge. It was a huge day. I think you want to go watch today's live stream. It was very cool. We hit several multi-hundred tick trades on those. Those were awesome. Watch today's live stream. Very cool. All right, plugged on that. Let's go to analysis. And we will select this to trades. If you go from daily, because you're like, hey, how do I get mine to look all cool like what everybody else does there in the chat? You switch to trades. And then you'll see this, you'll see its growth over time. That's always fun to see. You know, I like to see sometimes there's dips. Today I had pretty much no dips. Like, yeah, right there at the morning, you're up, came down, and then we had huge plays next. And just, it was an awesome day. Really fun. A lot of cool stuff. We actually were patient through our play setups, waited for the great setups, and it's a great day. But stats wise, if you're ever looking for the trade performance window, that's how you do it. Pull up your trade performance, and there's all kinds of things that you'll see us do in the chat. With that, you need to know how to do that. Now, speaking of that, I do also think that you should download the cool tracker in the community tools section on our website. Go under the software, community tools, and grab this daily tracker. Very cool to download, and then each day you can plug those in there and see this neat little stat play out. It will also be helpful. You don't have to, but I do recommend that you clear out your NinjaTrader database on the regular, like once a week. Sometimes, depending on how many trades are being played, you might want to do this every couple of days to clear out the NinjaTrader database, keep everything nice and crisp and clean and performance, keeping that database nice and lightweight. Inserts and updates just happen a lot quicker with less data in it. So clear out that, reset that database on the regular. If you're having, especially if you're having issues, just clear out the database, right? Reset database. That is also in the reset database section in the documentation. Or if you want to have some fun, go over here and ask the GPT, the Algobox GPT. Okay. That one covers that. Market replay and market playback. This will be used later in the course, but let's go ahead and show you guys how to do that here real quick. All right, so I'm going to change my connection and right here. So click under connections, and I'm going to select playback on this. I want to disconnect from my current, I don't have one connected right now. So I'm going to select playback for my connection. Now this little window here is going to pop out, and if I've already got data downloaded, I don't need to worry about going and grabbing any other additional data. I'm not going to go into super details here. Just know that pretty much I just need to press continue on this section. That's usually the like, oh, do I have to press something here? There's tons of videos out there on how to do market replay. I'm just going to show you really quick. There we go, loading up there. I've connected to market replay data, and I'm going to press play here on my little player here so you can see this play. Even after hours, I can practice in market replay. So let's come up here to the top left again. And now I have my little playback window. I'm gonna squeeze this up a little bit. And I like to kind of fit mine right here. And I am doing my practice. There we go. Okay, there's my neat little player. Now I have historical data depending on how many days of data I already had on my charts. This is cached data. So I do recommend doing that. It's faster that way. There's a whole thing around it, whole video around how I do market replay. Go search it. Again, for bootcamp here, I'm not going to go through every single detail on how to do that. Just basically, once you're here, you basically press play. Now this is starting at 12 a.m. I don't want to necessarily start at 12 a.m., right? Let's go to some market action. Let's go to like 9 a.m. So how do I do that? On the drop down, on the start, I'm going to come down here. This looks like Tuesday the 15th, April 15th. Okay, cool. Well, let's do that, but let's go to a time of day. I right click, go to, right click right here. Go to. A lot of people don't know about this. Just right click anywhere on the menu and select go to. Wake up. This is the time to wake up. You're going to forget this. I promise. You're going to be like, where's that thing? How do I go to time of day? I always press play and I got to fast forward it. Don't. Just go super fast right here. Go to. Got it? Everybody type go to in the chat. So I know you didn't miss it. Right click, go to. Now I can select the time, right? So I'm going to type in 9 a.m. I'm going to click OK. Now watch all the charts magically go to 9 a.m. on that date. So no, you don't have to sit there and fast forward and wait from midnight to 9 a.m. That kind of stuff. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you want to go straight to 9 a.m., press play. Now, we also have speed selection. So I can run this market at, I can get 10 times the amount of practice in somebody else. So everybody's always like, wait, Vinny, you want me to do this 5 times? Sure, do it 5 times at 10x speed. And then you literally did it less than half of the amount of times. If you don't know what I just said, roll back the tape, play it again. Okay, here we go. So let's run it at 10x speed here. I hope the 15th wasn't too wild. Let's find out.
Divergence down by harmonic YM on the 6. Double delta EM on the 6.
All right, that leads me to sounds. Now there's going to be, sometimes at 10x speed, you might get too much sound. So let me show you a pro tip on playing with your sound mixer.
On the 9.
So if you right click on Windows, if you right click that little sound icon on your desktop, right click it and select Open Volume Mixer. You will get the you'll get the mixer options. Let me bring you guys down to the bottom screen here for this.
DCDMYM on the 3. Fib.YM on the 2. Double delta EM on the 3.
Okay, so in your volume mixer, you'll have all the different things that are running on your PC. And here is NinjaTrader Playback, and you see I've got it set to 10% right now. This is for our live streams. I want to set it all the way to 0 sometimes. It might just be too loud. Now, when you're practicing, you do need to get used to hearing the sound. So I'm not saying do this, but if it gets wild and you're running too fast, you know what I'm saying, you can control just the sound on NinjaTrader. Okay, I'm going to turn it all the way up here just for a second so you can hear it. And I'm going to go increase the speed to like 30x now, and this might get a little bit too wild. That's not too bad.
Fib.YM on the 2. Along on the Y.
Okay, so now all of a sudden it starts getting really loud, real crazy. Yeah, so it gets super loud. I might want to turn that down just for NinjaTrader. I might want my other music or other things. I don't want to turn down the whole thing. People don't know that you can actually do this. This is a Windows thing. There's how I would turn down the playback sound on NinjaTrader. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and mute it for now. Okay, so then coming up top here, we are pressing play and the markets are on the move and I can practice. So let's do some practice here real quick and talk about how to kind of roll that back. And when I talk to you about running things multiple times, I'll show you that here in just a second. If I can get back to top left. Top left, here we go. Okay, so I'm currently running at 30x speed. Here we go. It's 4 minutes till the open, so it's probably going to get a little bit wild. I'm going to turn it down to like 10 here because it's going to get a little bit too fast at the open at 30x speed, I imagine. Now I've got this on the 3s here, and let's see if I can find a play setup. Currently, we are outside of MACV. I'm going to pick a strategy here. I'm going to choose small. I'm going to do we'll do 4 smalls. 15. There's a pink dot. I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at the pink dot back behind 2 red ADDs. Now I am going against the favorable direction here at the time, but just for demonstration purposes, let's see if I can let's see if I can stop out appropriately behind the dot. I'm going to put my stop right back behind the dot. Okay, got stopped out on trade number 1. And this is breaking through that red dot here. Remember, we're coming right up into the open here. Let's see. On the 15th, was this just one of those mammer jammer run days? Let's talk about, so market replay. Okay, it's going wild. I can feel it. Let me turn this down to like 10x speed. Now, sometimes market replay can feel a little choppy. We have something called SpeedyChart. So if I go right click and go to indicators, and I don't believe this has SpeedyChart on it. No, it does not. So one of the little tips and tricks here, if I add SpeedyChart to this chart, this will smooth things out. Okay, I'm just going to double click, add SpeedyChart, right click. I'm going to leave its default. I'm going to turn off auto scale and price markers. Don't need that. Okay, and that can sometimes smooth out that chart because there is a little bit of a weird refresh. Yeah, see how much more snappy it is? Can you see that? Little pro tip there on that one. All right, we're at 10x speed at 9:30 a.m. So this is going to be hairy. Let's see if See if I'm any good here on our play setups here. Let's see what we got. Coming back down into, is that the open line? And we are red arrowed here. So I'm going to look for a short here any moment. Currently down into the open line. Let's turn on full auto here on Enigmas and go quantity 2. Let's see if we can get Enigma to show up here for us. Go quantity 3 and see if we can make up for some goodies there. Okay, got a cross at the bottom of a channel. Are we... No, we're red side, so I can't go green on that. Gonna wait and see if we get ourselves an Enigma here. Doing it live. How's everybody doing? How are you doing? You need to set the sound NT to play consecutive. I recommend consecutive. Yes. Do you have to? No. If you don't mind things kind of talking over themselves, but sometimes they kind of get stacked up. But in general, yeah, I like to hear all the sounds. I don't want them kind of laying on them. You live, George? Coming right here, and hey, we completed everything. We got it in our 2-hour window there. I was hoping an Enigma might show up there in the first 5 minutes there at the open. No Enigmas showing up here yet. Hey, Kath, thanks for saying hello. Okay, looks like we're coming all the way down to, it looks like maybe a masher. But we are red-sided here, and let's see if I can get an entry. Could have Dr. Seuss on a couple of those. Trying to see if I can just wait out for an Enigma to show up, but this might be one of those weird open days on the 15th. Was the 15th wild? You've got it set to where you only have the sounds that tell you to look at the charts. That's a good thought there. That's a good way to do it. Yeah, and I tell people all the time, like, you don't want to be reactionary to your charts. You want to stalk your trades, be ready for the trade. Don't be like, oh, I heard a thing, I got to do a thing. I have a whole video around that called Stalk Your Trades. Be ready ahead of time. No Enigmas yet. This thing is getting boring. It's gonna make me press the button manually, isn't it? Okay, we are green arrowed. Just outside of the fiddle zone. Let's see, with the 4 chart layout, audio can be overwhelming. There's a way to toggle off all NQ charts so I can pay attention to YM only, etc. Yeah, there's not a toggle for that. Yeah, you do have to kind of go into all the indicators themselves to do that. Now, if you want to get tricky with it, you can set that up with multiple NinjaTraders. You want to get crazy, if you want to get advanced, you can get advanced, and you can actually run multiple NinjaTraders in. I want to get into that configuration. Pretend I didn't say that. Okay, looks like we got our first Enigma coming in here, and let's see, is it going to get its 2 targets, or are we just getting 1 and not happening here? Let's see. Are we green? Ooh, we're red arrow. It's gonna be close. There it is, and it hits its targets there. Up 225, coming back from a minus 400, about a $600, $700 play there on the Enigma. 19.4. at about 9:36. So 1 minute past the US Open, and Enigma strikes again. Beautiful stuff. Did I miss any questions? Type your questions there in the chat. Save it as a different workspace. Yeah, can you turn off sounds by workspace? I don't know if you can do that or not. But you can switch between them for sure. But yeah, I know what you're saying. To be able to toggle off an entire anything within queue kind of thing. That would be a very complex controller build. Greg, you're a coder. Why don't you code that for us? You code that one up. I don't know that I want to spend my time on doing that one, but hey, who knows? Maybe one day put it in the wish list area, and if I get bored, maybe we'll go over there and pick that up. Dev workspace indicators are silent for one or the other. Oh yeah, you've gone through. I see what you're saying. Like gone through all of them and set them. Yeah. I gotcha. Like you have one that's like sound on and one that's sound off. That's smart. So you have a workspace that's sound on, workspace sound off. There you go. I gotcha. But if you wanted both of them on, because that's what he's saying. He's like, sometimes I want it just in queue and I only want just YM, whatever. So yeah, I mean, you have to basically pre-configure that. And there is that whole, like, sometimes you just got to take the time to set it all up the way you want it. I don't do it that way, but if you want to do that way, yeah, absolutely. I like to hear something on the NQ. Sometimes like, oh, there's something on NQ. And NQ sometimes will tell me that there's something like, actually that happened the other day when I was like, okay, I'm hoping NQ is coming with me. Boom, I heard NQ, something showing off while I'm playing on the YM. It helped me to queue in that there was a play setup coming in on the YM because of NQ. Now, if it's too chatty, well, you probably have it too fast. You should adjust the speed, right? You need to adjust speed. If you're hearing too much, there's actually a perfect cue right there. If you need to adjust your speed, if you're getting too many sounds, then you're on the wrong bar size. Adjust the bar size, right? Should cue you in versus playing and stay on the same spot. Sense. Other question. Haha, you can already hear the questions. Haha, I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Don. Don James. Brilliant man right there, I tell you. Savant level. Let's see. The Enigma, baby. All right. That'll conclude day 2. I'll see you guys in the morning on live streams. Don't forget, during this event, this is the time to get involved. After this, I can't tell you that price is going to stay. But don't forget, if you're doing the 2-week free trial, they're always going to be the best price if you're doing it during a 2-week free trial or an event like this in a pre-launch during a reboot scenario like we got right now. Check out those prices there on our website. Thanks for hanging out. For me, Pippi, Robbie, Lunchball, Squad, Curtis, G, and Eddie B, I am sending out in the Big H-Town. See ya. Don't go yet. Let's see what our art team's got. Art team, show them how it's done.
The old adage where, the individual investor doesn't have a chance because the institutional investor has better technology, better information, and, more money and better opportunity, I don't think it's real anymore. I think the edge is on the individual investor because they're small, they're nimble, they can trade, they can use front-end technology.
Don't waste your time. Leave the technical analysis to us. You just play the game.
Forex is littered with crooks, black hat guys, all this kind of shifty characters and companies trying to extract money from your pocket and stick it into theirs. And one of the things that they do is operate these Forex signals.
Delta 5 loading. Long. Look for long. Harmonic pattern. Pick up. One down on approved. Into the wire. Order filled. Target filled. To the wire. Audio Jungle.